With Computex 2024 looming right around the corner, should you even be considering buying or building a gaming PC right now? We'll talk about that and more on this episode of System Integrators Weekly.
Let's go, nerds!
Hello everyone, I'm Brayathorn. Welcome to System Integrators Weekly, where it is that time of year again. Uncertainty abounds, rumors are flying around, and honestly, it's a really stressful time for anyone in a position like mine where the recommendations I make could get you to spend your hundreds or thousands of dollars that you've saved up in the wrong direction, basically, and I don't want you to do that. But times like this, generally right before CES and Computex and other launches of new hardware and things like that, I tend to take a step back, and I think that that's something that a lot of my contemporaries that do this as well on YouTube, because we don't know all of the facts. We don't know everything that's going to be coming out. You'll see leaks on, Twitter, X, or whatever. You'll see leaks on, videocards.com and just sites like that, where this is probably what it's going to be, but we never know for sure. My advice right now is to just stand down, just hold off. You know, it's going to be in just a little over a month that Computex 2024 starts over there in Taipei, Taiwan. And it's kind of a big deal, pretty much the largest PC-related event in the world. So we'll talk about that, and we'll go over what I think are some pretty good deals right now that you could consider if you're in a specific price range of around $1,000, because generally the newest stuff won't affect you if that's mostly what your budget is. But we'll talk more about that after this word from our sponsor, that is VIP CDK Deals.
The best place to go when you want to get yourself an OEM Windows license to get rid of that annoying watermark and unlock all the customization Windows has to offer. So instead of paying well over $100 for a retail version of Windows, you can get an OEM key for a fraction of the price. Plus, you can use my code BRAY25 to get a nice fat discount off of the already discounted price. Keep in mind that this is an OEM key that gets attached to this system and cannot be used with another one or if you change your hardware. Make sure you get the right key for your operating system. For more information on how to use CDK Deals, click the link in the description saying here's how it works, and I'll walk you through the whole thing. Thank you, CDK Deals, for continuing to support the channel.
Before we get into the actual topic of whether you should buy a PC or not, I do need to let you know a few disclaimers, because I am going to be showing some PCs later on in the video. Any pricing and availability that you see here is likely to change if you watch this video a few weeks or months from now, because everything will have changed by then. And if that's the case, please watch till the end of the video to help me out if you don't mind. But also, you can just click on my face down there where it's the channel and just see what the latest stuff is, or wait until the end of the video and you'll see posted up here both a video that is suggested for you and also the latest video from the channel. The next thing is you're going to hear opinions here, and that's normal. Everyone has opinions, and if yours are different from mine, I accept that about you, and I hope you'll return the favor. Now, if you do disagree, you feel free to do so politely in the comments below, or in our Discord. We have a whole tech discussion channel there that's linked in the description below. Now, another important disclaimer: this is not financial advice. I am basically sharing my thoughts with you and looking at different things in the SI industry and going over those things to help arm you with the information that you need to make an educated and confident decision for yourself. That's the best way to go about this, and that's definitely what I suggest you do, rather than just looking at something I point at and say, well, he said buy that, and he must have been talking to me as an individual. I don't know your specific needs. If you need help with a PC of your own and you want to find out what's right for you based on your budget, your needs, what you're going to use the PC for, all these different things, come to the streams every Tuesday and Thursday here on YouTube and on twitch.tv/Brayathorn, either or both, if you want to help out there with the views. And you can fill out a form. Let me know what your specific needs are, and I can help you one-on-one. That's the better way to do that. Finally, the last thing is, if you are on the fence as to whether you want to go with a pre-built or go DIY, listen up. For those of you who are confident you want to get a pre-built, this is not for you. This message is not for you. This whole video is. Okay, this whole channel is dedicated to people who are looking for pre-built PCs. But if you are on the fence about whether you want to go DIY or whether you want to buy a pre-built for your PC, you might want to consider going DIY a little extra there. Just lean towards that a little bit and really see if that's for you, because you can save money that way. However, if you're unsure of that and you want a really solid way to get into DIY or just to get into PC gaming in general, pre-builts are a great option for that. And that's what we're here to talk about. So either way, PCs are awesome. And I think we can all agree on that, right? So there's a couple things you need to consider whenever you're hearing rumblings of new announcements and new product launches. Okay, there's two things to consider. First off, that means newer, faster hardware is coming out. And that happens it happens pretty frequently, a few times a year. That's not that crazy, but if you're someone who really cares about having the latest thing when you're going to make your large purchase, then you should pay attention to that. There's also a second side to this. When new stuff comes out, the current generation gets cheaper and the next gen stuff sort of takes its place, right? So whether you're trying to get the latest stuff or whether you're just trying to get the best deal possible, these kinds of events like CES and Computex are very, very important for that reason. We are fairly certain at this point that NVIDIA is going to be releasing their 50 series GPUs sometimes this year. And oh boy, we got something to say about that for sure. Now, before I get too far into that, let's actually take a look at what's going to be going on at Computex. So we already know, and we've known for a while, that Dr. Lisa Su, the chair and CEO of AMD, is going to be doing the opening keynote of Computex. That's a pretty big deal, and that generally is going to happen when there's going to be a whole new lineup of consumer desktop CPUs, their 9000 series, which is what we've all been speculating, and Gigabyte accidentally confirmed for us. Thank you, Gigabyte. Never one to be upstaged, even when the stage isn't actually his. Jensen Huang will be the CEO of NVIDIA, is going to be doing another more different keynote, and this is on their website. Yet on their website, they're listing the dates for Computex 2024, June 4th through 7th in Taipei, and the keynote is on the 2nd. Is anybody else seeing this as a little bit weird? I think Paul's Hardware has it best in his hardware news hardware news episode that was early this morning, kind of showing the upstaging, I'm gonna let you finish kind of thing in the thumbnail. Great thumbnail, and it pretty much sums this up. But here's the thing: if you've been watching PC Hardware for a while, you've seen this song and dance before. Anything you can do, I can do better. And, don't listen to them, listen to me. No. Oh, they've got a big product launch coming. Well, guess what? We updated our DLSS. Here's a big keynote about that. Don't forget, we're here. Don't forget about us. AMD is not innocent of this. They have done the exact same thing before. So it's really not that big of a deal. And it's honestly kind of funny to watch. I'm kind of expecting this to just be a bunch of esoteric AI nonsense. Maybe with a little bit of hint, a little bit of teasing about 50 series GPUs. Maybe they'll announce the 5090 or something. It's going to be a good show for sure, either way, and it is just a little over a month away. So whichever you're more interested in, AMD's new CPUs and potentially Radeon announcements for a new GPU lineup, things like that, or whether you're more interested in seeing the upstaging done by NVIDIA, it doesn't matter. This Computex is going to be a huge one. The one thing we don't know is whether announcing things at AMD is going to also mean launching them. I would be hoping that they would strike while the iron is hot, when everyone's excited about the announcement, and launch them pretty soon thereafter. But they could be coming in and saying, hey, these are going to be the new CPUs coming in sometime in Q3 2024. Either way, this means that if you are currently in the market to buy a pre-built PC or build a DIY PC right now, there are some things that you need to think about. You need to decide whether any of this matters to you or not. Not whether it matters to me or other YouTubers or your friends or anything like that. Do you care about having the latest and greatest thing, the most newestest thing. You don't need to care about that. Generally, the rule that I go for is get the best thing that you can with your budget right now. Don't worry about what comes out later. However, perhaps plan to have an upgrade path. That's all I usually care about, and that honestly tends to lean towards AMD because of their long support for specific sockets that they come out with, things like that. Do you care about that? That's why the forum that we use for the PC Matchmaker streams has questions like that. Do you plan on upgrading your CPU over time? No? Then don't worry about whether you'll be able to do that or not. Just take it all with a grain of salt. Decide whether you actually care about that or not. I know a lot of people are coming over to PC from game consoles. And in consoles, you'll buy a console and you're like if you buy it at launch, you're on the cutting edge for like 4 years or something, or longer. And that's not how it works in PC hardware. So it does take a little bit of paying attention to sort of how long has this platform been out? Like, is it on the way out? Like with Intel's current platform, that's on the way out, and their next thing is going to be very different. Basically, being aware of it will allow you to decide what's important to you or not. Now, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, and this is something that I was repeatedly encouraged to do by the community members that commonly come into the streams and hang out pretty much every time. And y'all know who you are. So we had some potential sponsorship to head out to Taiwan for Computex for our first time, myself and Mr. Cuddles, so he could do camera work, do some editing while he's there, and we can actually try our best to get content out while we're there on site. Something we still to this day have not really been able to do. And this would be our first Computex. It'd be my first time in Taiwan ever. That fell through. They could not. They came back, and it was pretty late in the game that we found out that pretty much, as far as I can tell, all of our options have kind of dried up there. That was rough because for some we've been asking since December, and then some in January at CES, and then it took 4 months to get an answer back on some of these. So it's pretty rough, and that makes it harder to make accommodation, harder to just suddenly just come up with the money. So I was encouraged by members of chat that are always there to start just a GoFundMe page. They were asking for a way for them to make it happen, to help make it happen. So I'm going to do that. You can check the link in the description if you feel like you want to help us get out there. It's not something I like to do. In fact, I get uncomfortable on stream when people do things like the last PC Matchmaker stream, Jeff's Trains dropped 50 YouTube memberships just like that, and I'm like, how do I respond to that? It's just, I'm not really good with that kind of. I get awkward with generosity, and I think that that's kind of part of the reason they do it, and I appreciate y'all so much. I just don't really know how to show that. It just makes me feel weird. But I really appreciate that. And they've been asking for me to do this, so I'm doing it. And I figure I might as well let you guys know too. If you're wanting to help out with that, the link will be in the description. And it's not easy to get out to Taiwan and have the whole hotel thing. So we have something. It doesn't matter if it's nice. I don't care. I will sleep in a box as long as it has like air conditioning, probably. Really, we're just looking at airfare and hotel, food and stuff. I can take care of that. We just want to be there. It's just, there are people heroes that I've met who have been telling me like, oh, so are you going? Are you going to, Taiwan? Like, and telling me that they know great places to eat. And it's just like, I want to be there, So if you feel like contributing to that, it would be hugely appreciated. I will not know how to show my gratitude. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or whatever, 50 cents. I don't care. I don't care. Just if you feel like being a part of that journey, we will commit to having coverage, content out while the event is going on. That might mean, figuring out a different way to do the workflow, but we will do that. Thank you in advance if you decide to be a part of that. So what we're going to look at are some systems that are more budget-oriented systems, and those are great. Those are fun. I love them because it's a great jumping in point for someone who is just like trying. You know, you're not trying to like get all the craziest latest hardware. You're trying to get the best performance you can for a specific like reduced amount of money. It's not just throwing a bunch of money at the problem. There's some brain power involved, and it's more of a challenge. I really like doing these whenever I'm doing the PC matchmaking because it really forces me into an optimization standpoint. So let's go ahead and take a look, and we will see what is out there. So we're going to be taking a look at several different system integrators. Right now, I have to say Skytech is kind of going really hard in the paint when it comes to their budget systems. This is page 2. They have a lot of systems that are like on clearance right now. So that is kind of giving them an edge. Well, with a dedicated GPU starting at about $550. That's crazy. With 1-year warranty, parts and labor, and generally a lot of these will have free shipping. But the ones we're going to be looking at are going to be, let's see here. First off, we've got this Chronos 2 coming in at $879, and this is with a 12400F. So that is 6 cores and 12 threads, and an NVIDIA RTX 4060 in a high airflow case. This one is a Phynix case right here, and it's a 1 terabyte M.2 drive for under $1,000 in this system. That is really nice. It is a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply, so not a ton of upgradability with that, but with the new series coming out soon, pre-built, rebuilt, which we now have the PC. I am working on that already. That's one of the things I'll be showing is how to swap a power supply, how to swap a CPU, how to add storage. All of those things are all going to be part of the series with their own episode for each one, and it's going to be super cool. You have a tower cooler on here, and all of this for $879 before code SWARM, SWARM, which adds an additional discount. And this thing apparently ships in 1 business day, with 1 to 6 days for ground delivery, but that means it ships out. It leaves the facility within a business day. Then we've got this guy right here. This is the Archangel 4. It's if you want a white system, here you go for $849. This one is also 12400F, and it's also in an RTX 4060 with a 1 terabyte drive, a 600 watt 80 plus gold power supply. So a little bit of a dip in the power delivery there for the power supply, but it also has a tower cooler, and these both have full ATX B660 motherboards with DDR4, 16 gigs of DDR4 for each one, which for most gaming applications is going to be fine, unless you're playing like Escape from Tarkov or something heavily modded or something like that. And then we have this Chronos Mini. This one is $929. And what you're getting with this one is a smaller case, which can be nice. You have a 13400F, and what's the significance there? Between 12th gen and 13th gen, the i5 400 class CPU got 4 efficiency cores. So this one actually has a 10 core CPU plus the RTX 4060, the 1 terabyte drive, the 600 watt power supply, and get this, 32 gigs of DDR5. So they went with a DDR5 motherboard in this. It's not very fast DDR5, it's 5200, but 32 gigs, really all you're going to need for gaming in pretty much any game. And with that 4060, you're going to have excellent 1080p performance there. And the 13400F is great for multi-purpose use. The only thing I wouldn't say it's good for is like entry-level video editing, because you don't really get quick sync with that because it doesn't have the iGPU. But hey, this is a budget system, and this thing could pretty much take any 13th or 14th gen CPU. I would be careful though about going with anything too high end, because I don't think the power delivery on this motherboard is going to be anything crazy. And it also looks like an METX motherboard, but it's not listed as having an METX motherboard, which is a little bit interesting, but it is DDR5, and that is nice for future upgradability. There you go. Nice system right there. Then we have the Blaze 4 Mini, which this is a newer case for them, the Cougar Airface, which is an interesting name for a case. But this one is $989. But the future upgradability for this is excellent, coming in with a Ryzen 5 7600X, This thing could very easily take one of the new 9000 series AMD CPUs when those come out, but I wouldn't just buy it like this and swap the CPU when the new ones come out. What you do is this. You just use what's in here for a long time, and once 9000 series CPUs have dropped in price, then consider upgrading. You have that upgradability for years to come. That is excellent. Comes with a tower cooler, 16 gigs of DDR5, and it says none RGB, which is interesting. I believe they meant non-RGB. It is a B650 motherboard. Is not listed as B650M, so if it was an actual M-ATX motherboard, I'd be pretty upset about that because it's not listed that way, and they say for the picture, it doesn't represent the final build. And that 4060, 1 terabyte NVMe drive, 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply, and Wi-Fi included, all that stuff. So for $989 before the Swarm discount, this is pretty dang nice, and will play any game in 1080p. Then we have this one, the Shiva 2, and the Shiva 2 in white here. This thing does have a tower air cooler in it. It has a 13400F, again, that's the 10-core CPU. The B660 with DDR4, this one does not have DDR5. 16 gigs DDR4 3200, and the RTX 4060 Ti, which is an upgrade over the 4060. Still a 1 terabyte drive. Look at these guys putting a terabyte in everything. Love to see that. It's a nice looking case, and these are not super hot running components, so the airflow that you see there is not the most optimized, but it's not bad either. You have some fairly large openings on each side there, which, you know, you'll see certain Corsair cases like that. This is totally fine for the parts that it's coming with. So that is a roundup of the systems at Skytech that I would look at that are under $1,000. That's what I would look at. Those are some really nice ones. You can find the links in the description below. And remember, you can get those prices down by using code SWARM, SWARM. But that's going to be it for Skytech. So that was an awful lot of systems from Skytech. I know. And the reason for that is they kind of excel at this price point because of all the clearance deals they've got going on right now. But that's not all there is out there for deals that are under or around $1,000. So we're going to see what else is out there. And there are some really great options too. Let's go take a look. So this one is the Harpy from Phynix PC. You've heard me talk about Phynix PC before. Very cool company. It is employee owned, and they stream every build that they sell. Every single build. Now, the Harpy comes in at $999, but you can raise that price by customizing it. But let's take a look at what the default specs are first. The case is the Vetru M03 METX case, and it's with a 12100F CPU. That is a quad-core 8-thread CPU, though you can upgrade that. The cooler is a Deep Cool AK400 digital, which is a really nice cooler that has a little display on it, and you can actually see your CPU temps on there, which is very cool. You get the MSI Pro B760M-A Wi-Fi 6 DDR4 motherboard, and you can also change it up. Now, if you go with, like, say, DDR5 for your memory, you get the B760M Mortar Wi-Fi. Yeah, so we got 16 gigs of DDR5 3600 CL18 DDR4. That'll be different specs if you go DDR5. Crucial P3 Plus 1 terabyte Gen 4 drive. Then you have the video card is an AMD RX 6600. This thing is a real banger on a budget. It is awesome for the price. Tons of 1080p gaming potential here, and pretty much any title you want. Now, don't go turning on ray tracing and ultra settings or anything like that. You still need to know how to manage your settings, and if you overdo it, you will reduce your frame rate. But as long as you get over 60 FPS, that's usually playable, so go nuts if you want to. And then it comes with case fans already. Now, when I say the price can go up, well, there's a whole process to this. So you can click to get the pre-configured option right off the bat, and that is all listed right down there, and I like to see that. However, you can also start customizing here, and you can choose either white or black, which is great. So we'll just say we'll go with the black version here. Generally, if you're going to be going Intel with their sort of hybrid architecture of performance cores and efficiency cores, you want to go Windows 11 for sure, and it does not change the price. Now, this is where you can change things up. You can go with any of these Intel CPUs here, and going with between the 12100F and the 14100F, I wouldn't really say is going to make a huge difference, but going up to the sort of 14400 will net you 6 more cores. That's going to be 6 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. And that's going to add 179 to the price, or 180 to the price. So definitely something to think about. If you're just gaming and you're not doing any like esports or professional level gaming, like competitive, 1200F is fine. The cooler that was spec'd out before, as it's stated down there, is the AK400 digital. And if you are going with the i3 12100F, you're fine with that. That is plenty of cooling for that. RAM type, you can choose DDR4 or DDR5. For a budget system, you can go DDR4. It is very easy to get a RAM upgrade for that for more capacity. Say you upgrade to, you know what, you're like, ah, man, I got college classes now, or I'm doing graphic design and I'm doing some video editing or photo editing or whatever, and you decide you want to throw in something like a 10 core 14400. Well, you can also throw in 32 gigs of RAM for pretty cheap. So that's a benefit of DDR4, but DDR5 has come down in price quite a bit too. So that is up to you. You can also choose to just get 32 gigs of RAM right now. 32 gigs will raise the price by only $30. You might as well do it. Games are becoming more demanding on system memory, so why not? You choose the RX 6600 or the 4060 Ti. Those are the 2 choices available here. However, I'm fairly certain if you just talk to them and you want a different GPU in the system, they'll do that. Just shoot them an email. And by the way, whatever price we end up with is not the price that you're necessarily going to pay, because you know this name right here. And if you type in this name, Breathorn, well, the price is going to come down because they're part of Operation Code Breathorn. Plus, you're saving money and supporting the channel at the same time. So it's kind of a win for everybody. It's awesome. Yeah, so you can choose the 1 terabyte PCIe 4.0 SSD or the 2 terabyte. The 2 terabyte would add about $75. You can also choose a secondary or tertiary drive, and we're going to go no and no, and then 650 watt power supply is the only option there. And we can go no extra fans unless you want it. If you want cable extensions, that will add $30 if you want to go with that. They are kind of a pain to cable manage, so if you're going to have them anyway, you should just choose the purple. Anyway, after that, you're done. You add to cart. It has gone up by $60 because we added cable extensions and we went up to 32 gigs of RAM, just like that. And when you add it to cart and then you go to the coupon code section, put in code Breathorn and just check out what the discount is. It's pretty nice, and the discount will scale with the price of the system as well. And then you get to watch it being built on stream, which I promise you is super hype and very fun, and it gives you a little bit of a connection to your PC. It's pretty awesome. So I definitely recommend you check it out if you get it from Phynix PCs, and then you just tell them I said hi. Now, if you've been hanging around the channel quite a bit, you'll know already about Alexander PCs, and I will say that is not a bad thing. These guys pack a lot of value into their pricing. Even if you look at it and you're like, hey, this has the same specs as blank PC, but it costs a little bit more. Well, this also comes with a lifetime warranty, like lifetime warranty. So, and they work their butts off to actually make that work. So now whatever price you see here, keep in mind, you can get $50 off of this price by using code THORN, THORN. So it's like my name, but without the Bray part. Okay. Let's talk about the Auxilia. Now, what you're looking at here is $998 US for the system in black, or $1,008 in white. That's for the Intel system. You can also go with 5000 series AMD. That will drop the price for both the black and the white. And they actually do make the effort to give you a white GPU if you pick the white build. So that, and the white cooler, white fans, all that stuff. It's very nice to see. Plus, with these builds, you don't just get the lifetime warranty. Shipping is also baked into the price already, and shipping insurance, and the choice of cable extensions in the color of your choice. I already said choice in that sentence, and now I feel weird. So you also have the option to upgrade the system through their new tiers here. So you can go with the tier 1 Intel system, 16 gigs of RAM and an RX 6600, or jump up to 32 gigs of RAM and an RX 7600 for $1,138. And if you go with the 32 gigs of RAM and the 4060, that is a little bit more expensive because the 4060 is a little more expensive. There is a performance jump between the 6600 and the 7600 from AMD Radeon. But the other parts that come in the PC are as follows. You have the Intel Core i3 12100F or the AMD Ryzen 5 5500. What's the difference between those? Well, the i3 12100F, as I mentioned previously, is a 4-core 8-thread processor, whereas the Ryzen 5 5500 is 6 cores and 12 threads. So you're going to get better multitasking and better productivity, things like that. Better, if you're trying to get into very entry-level content creation, the 5500 is going to be a better option because of the extra cores. They do make a difference. Either way, you're going to get the Thermalright Assassin X Refined S Special Edition ARGB cooler. Very well-reviewed cooler by Gamers Nexus. It's a nice cooler. And now for the motherboard, if it's Intel, it's the ASRock B760M Pro RS DDR4. And with Wi-Fi, if you go AMD, it's the MSI Pro B550M-VC Wi-Fi motherboard. These are not the most feature-packed motherboards out there. They're just not going to be at this price point. But still, you know, you're getting to look at actually the I/O here on the back, which is nice. Let me go ahead and zoom out so you can see it. That's going to be for the AMD motherboard. You get 6 USB Type A's. This is the Intel motherboard. This one's a little nicer with the integrated rear I/O shield. And not quite as much in terms of USB Type A's. However, you do get a USB Type C right here. Storage for this, regardless of the system spec you go with, is going to be 1 terabyte Kingston NV2. That is a PCIe Gen 4 drive, but at the lower speeds of that. And it is HMB, it is the DRAM-less drive with HMB, but as I've been seeing, HMB is performing quite well. And so you get 16 gigs of Kingston Fury RGB DDR4 3600 with either build. And of course, the graphics card that is default is the Radeon RX 6600. The chassis is the Deepcool CH370, and I gotta say, this is a cool little chassis. It really is. It's quite good looking in both black and white, especially if you like that Stormtrooper look. This one really fits into that aesthetic. My one beef is that this thing has like a headphone hanger. If you look up here, right up here, there's a little push-in headphone hanger that clicks out for a headset, but it's on the side of the PC with the glass that displays your PC. So when it's on there, it's going to be blocking that view. It's hardly ideal, but I mean, that's how they designed it. The other thing is, I don't believe this case has the front panel USB Type-C, which is a pity because the motherboard does have the header for it. And then for the rest of it, power supply, 650 watt, 80 plus gold rated, fully modular power supply, so not the bargain bin one. And they do add the case fans. They swap out the case fans to give you PWM and ARGB, so adjustable RGB. And connectivity is going to be Wi-Fi 6E, looks like, for both of them, and Bluetooth 5.3 for Intel or 5.2 for AMD. It's kind of hard to beat. Really, really good little system. So always a solid choice. And if you want to know how community members have felt about Alexander PCs, go to the Discord and check out the SI testimonials section of the Discord and go to the Alexander PCs one. It is glowing praise from start to finish, and that's kind of crazy. All right, so this next one is going to be from META PCs, and this is a ready-to-ship system here from META PCs. This is, in the same case, the Deepcool CH370 in black. And this one actually has a couple of upgrades here over the Auxilia. So I did want to show this one to you guys. And this one has the Intel Core i5 12400F. So this is a 6-core 12-thread CPU right there with the AMD Radeon RX 7600. Now, of course, I do say this has upgrades. It's also more expensive. Okay, so like that makes sense. It has the ASRock B660M Pro RS with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We unfortunately don't have a lot of pictures of this system. We just have the one. But I would have to basically look up the motherboard. I'll show you what the I/O is right now, because this is really the thing. When it comes to the motherboard, unless you're really used to adding storage and doing things like that, which you will be if you watch pre-built, rebuilt eventually, what you're going to interact with is the rear I/O. So this is what that looks like, and this is what you get. Now, this comes with 16 gigs Kingston Fury Beast DDR4 3600, and the cooling is a Deepcool AG400, slightly different one than the ones that we've been seeing. And but still a Deepcool cooler, nice tower cooler there. The power supply is an ASA 650 watt bronze. Not sure how well this thing is rated in the PSU Cultist tier list, but if it's in tier 3 and it's not like with a warning label on it, I'll say it's fine. Windows 11 Home included and a 1TB Kingston NV2 drive. So pretty similar system, kind of trades blows with the Auxilia, but the thing is, you'll get this faster. This ships out next business day because this is a ready to ship system. Now, one substantial difference is going to be the warranty. Whereas the Auxilia comes with a lifetime warranty, this one comes with a 1-year parts and labor warranty. So you can decide for yourself whether that's important to you, but I will vouch for META PCs in the fact that they came in and covered the warranties of every light gaming PCs customer after they shut down. And that's a pretty huge deal, and it really speaks to their character. If that matters to you, I'm happy to share that with you, especially if you bought from Light Gaming PCs. And if you did, I'm very sorry. Well, that wraps it up for this one. I hope that the talking about Computex and all that, and generally the trends within the industry helps out. If you're new to this and you're used to the console culture, if you're used to that, it's pretty different once you get into PC gaming. There'll be some pressure whenever new stuff comes out, but just remember this. What matters is that what you have and what you get works for the things you want it to do. That is all that matters. Even though I'm putting all this work into pre-built, rebuilt, the message is going to be clear throughout that series. If you don't feel the need to upgrade, you don't have to. But when you're ready to, the help will be there. Yeah, so that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you liked it. And if you want to get a recommendation just for you, come by the stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time, right here on YouTube or on twitch.tv/Braethorn if you prefer watching streams on Twitch. I got it all, baby. Well, not Kick. I don't do Kick. A little weird over there. Anyway, thanks, guys, and until the next one, take care.